I think in many ways, when other Christian denominations look at us, we're almost like this, I don't know, this middle child between the Catholic Church and then the end of Protestantism,
Yeah.
who's just like a little too into the rules and a little too worried about making sure everybody keeps the rules, but isn't Catholic and just kind of stuck in the middle. Why stay there instead of going back then to those churches we've come from and reforming those churches? Why not try to infiltrate and reform other larger church bodies instead of staying independent and being that middle child who's just standing on the rules and so forth?
Yeah. So a couple of things to say about that, because I think that the way that this is often portrayed online does not line up with reality. Because I'll just give you one example of the difference between online and reality with people in churches and switching churches and stuff. Is that online you would maybe think that the story I just related to you, especially with going to see Eastern Orthodoxy first, I'm like on the way there, or it had too many rules, so I became a Lutheran, because being a Protestant is like about not having rules, but Lutherans are only sort of Protestants, so they have some rules. I just give you an example, is that in reality, the percentage of people who report themselves to be Protestant today, who were raised Roman Catholic, is 4 times the number of people who are raised Protestant who today report themselves to be Roman Catholic. So 3% of people raised Protestant are now Roman Catholic. Much larger percentages of people were raised Protestant or raised Catholic and now report no religious affiliation than anyone switching from one form of Christianity to another. But way more people are raised Roman Catholic and now go to like a non-denom megachurch or quasi-megachurch than there are people raised Lutheran or Presbyterian or something who are in Roman Catholic or Eastern Orthodox churches. So online just looks a lot different than reality. And in reality, I think part of the reason that there are way more people going Catholic to Protestant, sometimes that's Lutheran, sometimes that's Presbyterian. Most often, I have the sense in 2025, it's non-denom or something that at least looks non-denom that might be Baptist, is because non-denom and Baptist churches generally are good at giving you a direct sense of why this matters to you. And sometimes Lutherans do not grasp how much of their theology can be directly applied to the person's soul either. Lutheranism instead gets presented by Lutherans as kind of like a system package, that being Lutheran is sort of like being an Apple user. And you get really great stuff, but only inside the Apple ecosystem. You can't pick and choose. You just get Apple stuff now. And therefore, Lutheranism is presented by a lot of Lutherans very similarly to how Roman Catholicism or Eastern Orthodoxy are presented by Roman Catholics or Eastern Orthodox. Here's a system, and now once you're in it, you can stop thinking. And I don't really think that's the biblical message. I think the biblical message is that Christ is sufficient, his word is sufficient. And then the Lutheran part of that is to say, and that's what we are giving you in the Lutheran Church. We're not making up rules about how you can't drink alcohol, like in the Baptist Church, and we're not making up rules about how you have to follow this or that particular guy in this or that city in Europe, whether Constantinople or Rome or wherever. We're just not making things up. We are giving you what Christ says in his word. I think a lot of times it's not presented that way. That is the way that I got it. The truth claim of the Lutheran Church is that it is presenting scriptural Christianity to you. And that's all it's for. It's not for some larger, purpose, like we're going to be able to send a lot of money to Rome or something. It's for presenting scriptural Christianity to you. And I think it needs to be presented more often that way, because then you don't have to define yourself in terms of other people all the time, which is, I would just say as a marketing thing, is just totally unattractive. Like, well, we're not Roman Catholics. Well, okay, lots of people are not Roman Catholics. And we're not like those evangelicals. Okay, well, that's cool, but like, what are you? And I think it's much stronger to say, I am giving you scriptural, like it's so much stronger to say, all the stuff I'm telling you, let's open up the Bible and it's going to be there.